All right, here we go on a Tuesday night, the late night happy hour. We'll see if the jabronis from the company join us in a little bit, get into some NBA playoffs. Lakers. That wasn't good. And the Golden Knights just closed out the Blackhawks, so we'll get to a little hockey later on. We got some wild card topics, maybe some more Karens.
I'm coming to Vegas.
Oh, we got to find out about that one. Yeah, we got to get an answer to what you can do right now in Vegas.
Yeah, tell me what to do.
All right. Well, let's keep asking the question throughout. What's up, Mark in Vegas? So we actually saw both number one seeds fall today in the NBA. I think all of us are going to say we're more freaked out about the Lakers, right?
I actually have been talking about since the bubble started, the Bucks out of the three favorites, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks. The Bucks are the ones that showed me the least in the bubble. I actually think I'm most freaked out about Milwaukee personally.
Really?
I do.
Von Tobel told me every way he could today that there's nothing to worry about with the Bucks against the Magic, even though they had a bad game today.
The Bucks just don't have it to me, and I know they have Giannis, and I know they have a lot of good pieces, but since they came back in the bubble, even though the Lakers, after they clinched the 1 seed, fell off, lost a lot of games, have been shooting horribly. They shot horribly tonight. That's why they lost. When I watch the Bucks, they just don't have the it factor to me. I just don't see. I see maybe they could win the East, but I just don't see them winning the title.
John?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? Like you said, you don't have it, and the criticism is that it's going to hold you back, right, in terms of supporting Milwaukee when it comes to winning the title. But do you have any worry, Alex, about them against Orlando?
No, in that series, I would still bet on the Bucks. I'm still betting on the Lakers in the Portland series. I don't think you bet against LeBron in a first round series. But I do think that if Giannis were in a market like LA or New York, I mean, I don't really feel right saying New York because the Knicks are a joke. But if Giannis were in a big market, I think he would be getting reamed right now. I think he'd be getting drugged through the mud. But I think guys like him and Dame playing in smaller markets, showing that loyalty, I think they get a little bit of a pass on. Well, Dame played great tonight, but I think Giannis gets a little bit of a pass on the way that he played.
Yeah, and I would say, Steve, too, like when you're looking at it from just the straight up perspective, like I brought this up on the radio show earlier today. Orlando beat Toronto in game 1 of their opening round series last year. Toronto went on to win the NBA Finals. Like, we've seen this before in terms of a slow start in game 1 for a team. There's a reason why you play a best of 7. So, like, against Orlando, I'm confident in standing here right now and saying that Milwaukee's going to be fine in their first round series with Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, teams that lose the number, what is it? Teams that lose to Orlando in the opening round in their first game I'm butchering the stat. Are champions 1-0 in NBA Finals following that. However you parse that out, that's what you said is true, JVT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm not going to worry about Milwaukee. I think they're going to be fine.
So I'm not that worried about the East.
Let's get to you are?
I would just say don't sleep on that Heat series. Like, that Heat series is not going to be easy. And I would not be surprised to see, dude, Steve, by the way, this cat, the reason why I'm late, this cat knocked over my camera when I got it set up. Right now he's attacking again. I would not sleep on Miami in a second round series against Milwaukee. Like, Miami does so many things well that just work against what Milwaukee does. Like, Steve and I were talking about this earlier, Alex. Like, some of the defensive principles that Bud's installed over there, they're really big on protecting the rim. They're allowing 3-point shots, and it's just such a weird way to play defense in like 2020 NBA. But like, it's worked. They're the best defense in terms of efficiency. It didn't work here in terms of the postseason. And Miami just shoots so many threes. They shoot so well. They got a 5 that's more like a really stretch. Not even a stretch, but like a rangy athletic freak in Bam Adebayo that can match up with Giannis. Like, there's so many things that they could do. And I don't know. Maybe I'm falling in love with them because I'm hoping that they do well. But there's a lot to like about Miami.
For sure. Yeah, that game. I mean, that game was fun today. I'm excited for that series against the Pacers.
Oh, pissed off Jimmy Butler's going to be dude. Pissed off Jimmy Butler's the greatest. And so watching him today in like certain moments, slowly but surely, I would say over the last like 2-3 seasons, Jimmy Butler's like become, to me, in terms of like if you had like favorite players, I gotta say like top 3, man. Like he's just
really
fun. Like in terms of the narrative, in terms of people think he's just an asshole, but really he's just a hard worker who wants to win. He's fucking good. Like I like Jimmy Butler a lot. And what he did with Philly last year was really fucking cool. Like, you know how much they miss him? Like what he was doing for Miami this year, how much the Philadelphia 76ers could use that shit. He's great, dude.
Yeah, I'm not a hater because I do like Jimmy Butler. I think he's cool. He's a guy you want on your team, but I think he gets compared to Paul George a lot. They're in the same category, and I think PG-13 is for sure a notch above Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're different players. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I just think they get compared a lot. I think they get put on the same tier a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. I think really with Jimmy, it's more about the narrative that he's kind of a dick, which I don't think is true. He had actually he had a really good interview with shooting guard Philadelphia played together now with the Orleans, JJ Redick. He had a really great interview on JJ Redick's podcast about like the perception around him and like what went wrong in Philly and things like that. And like, I don't know, he seems like a really down to earth kind of guy. And like the narrative about him being some hard ass is just he's just Cofield. You know, like Cofield's just to demand a certain amount of respect work ethic. And if you're not here on the same mission, then, you know, fuck off. Like, why should I have to respect you and battle you? You know?
See, if you had talked to me like 3 days ago, I would have gone in on Jimmy Butler more, but I did read today sort of about his background and how hard he had to grind to get where he was and where he came from. And I didn't know all that. And so I don't like trashing guys. I saw like he faxed in his college letter of acceptance from a McDonald's.
I didn't know that, really.
Yeah, that's what I read that today. Like just talking about how, you know, he came from the hood and he grinded and he didn't have things. And, you know, he worked really hard to get where he was. So I saw that and I was like, oh man, I would have slandered him maybe 3 days ago if I hadn't read that. But now I'm like back on the Jimmy Butler train. So.
By the way, last thing I'll say about that too, I recommend listening to that because there's a great anecdote that they tell about their time in Philly where it was like an early meeting when Jimmy Butler just got to Philadelphia after the trade, and I guess he was talking. Did they say he was talking to Brett Brown? And like they were airing grievances essentially, you know, because they had a film session. They literally just watched film. Nobody said a single word, and then they walked out. And Butler was like, "What the fuck is it? Like, what are we doing? Like, there's no leadership. There's nothing." And so there was a moment where he was like, it was the report, if you remember that year, where it was like he has fought back against Brett Brown. Like there's friction. What had really happened, according to Redick and Butler, was that they had a film session, and so Jimmy's like, "All right, like, are we going to say something here? Like, we need this offense." And Brown goes, "Okay, well, does anybody else feel like that?" And Jimmy Butler goes, "Yeah, TJ McConnell wants more pick and rolls," and like immediately threw TJ McConnell under the bus to go with them. And like, it's so cool to hear it from their perspective. Like, it's a really good story. It was a really good interview too. It's worth it.
I'll listen to that. JJ Redick's podcast is really good. He does a great job. And Philly, honestly, like Brett Brown, I'm surprised he still has a job. Philly perennially underachieves with the rosters that they've had recently.
John, who's your favorite team in the East to root for from here? Is it Philly or is it J-Butt in Miami?
Oh, if we're just talking about like rooting interest, I actually think it's Toronto. Like I like the Toronto story.
Oh, you love Nurse.
Well, yeah, Nick Nurse is really good. Like, you know what's funny? My producer Jacob, think about this. So Nurse is an awesome head coach. And we always talk about how strong like the West is compared to the East. Think about the best head coaches in the NBA. Where are they? As a conference, like as a whole, where would you put like some of the best head coaches? Name off a couple, because like I think of like the top like four guys. They're all in the Eastern Conference. Like there's so many good coaches in the Eastern Conference, like Brad Stevens, like
now.
Nick Nurse.
Hey now, Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr. We've got some in the West. Doc Rivers.
Right,
yeah.
But like if we're ranking out these guys out, like there's good coaches, but like we always talk about Brad Stevens as like a genius child coach, even though it's just because he looks like a coach. He's a child. Brad Stevens is up there. Spoelstra's one of the best coaches. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the good X's and O's, like play to play type guys. Spoelstra, Stevens, Nick Nurse, like they're in the Eastern Conference. And some people would consider Bud as well because he's so good in the regular season. Like there's a lot of good coaches.
No, that's true. That's true. The Eastern Conference is more of the cerebral X's and O's coach, and the West is like the players coach, like Doc, Steve Kerr, guys that played, guys that guys like to play for. That's interesting. I think those are like the two trends for sure. Should we talk Lakers Blazers?
Yeah, we got to go in. We got to go in on both of these because one, Alex is from Southern California, but he worked in Portland. So you you get a lot of crap from Portland fans, don't you? But it's more about the Clippers in Portland, right? Not the Lakers in Portland?
No, I mean, no, it's always going to be more about the Lakers in Portland because of the history with the Blazers. But Portland fans, I said it, I think last week on here, I said it on my radio show on Sunday, Portland fans are like, you're like swinging a wiffle ball bat at a hornet's nest. Like you say one thing and they come out because they don't have anything else. They're so prideful about the Blazers. So you say, even tonight, I tweeted about Hassan Whiteside mailing it in because Hassan Whiteside is a baffling player to watch. Half the time you don't know what he's doing. The announcers always love to bring up how he leads the NBA in shot blocking. Like that's like their one thing they have written next to his name on their cheat sheet. They always bring it up. And then he ends up blocking 5 shots tonight. But I tweeted that he was mailing it in because he just looked out of place. It doesn't look like he likes playing competitive basketball. And then all of a sudden he turns it on and he makes a couple big plays, has a dunk, blocks some key shots. And of course the Blazers fans are in my mention. Oh, funny. When did you tweet this? Do you want to rescind this comment? I'm like, no, I don't. Hassan Whiteside mails it in 9 times out of 10. You guys wish you didn't have to play him, trust me, but they're still going to come to his defense. So yeah, I like to poke at Blazers fans because they react, but they're stoked tonight. I wish I was blacked out drunk in Portland right now watching this game with Blazers fans. That would have been so fun because I hate the Lakers. Like I'm a longtime Clippers fan. There's only a handful of us. I was on before the Lob City bandwagon, and I just my disdain for Laker Nation and the narratives around them. I think the only thing they're winning this year is the narrative game. Like, oh, the Lakers have had it so hard. The Lakers have had it harder than any other franchise. They've had to deal with the China issue more because of LeBron. They've had to deal with COVID. Everyone's had to deal with COVID. Kobe died. None of these current Lakers were on a team with Kobe. So I'm just like, I just hate the narratives around the Lakers. They exhaust me.
I'm down with that. It was a very impassioned argument. I love that. Fuck the Lakers.
I can keep going, man. I'll keep going. It just drives. I just think about the Lakers outside of AD and Bron. They're all overrated. Yep. They're all overrated. Kuzma, put Kuzma on like the Kings. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit about him.
Kuzma's been surprisingly like every time he has a really decent game, the headline is if Kuzma plays like this, the Lakers are going to win a title. But like he's a 31% 3-point shooter. Like he's not been an efficient scorer. Like it's funny. Like there was all that conversation about when they were shipping off all those guys, right? In terms of the AD acquisition, and everybody all automatically was like, Kuzma, got to keep Kuzma, got to keep Kuzma. Like I think the Pelicans out of that deal at least got the better end of it, man. Brandon Ingram's developed into a really good scorer. Could be an awesome number 2 or number 3 if you added like a really big superstar, right? Next to him. Lonzo Ball's a really good defensive point guard, has some work to do offensively. Like I think they won out for the most part when you look at what they got back out of the 4. Like they got, or how many did they get? 3. They got the best guys possible. Leaving Kuzma is actually the best option, even though when it was going down, people were like, Lakers, you got to keep him. You don't think they could use Brandon Ingram right now, like the way that he's playing?
No, exactly. Well, I think the we got to keep Kuzma thing comes from Rob Pelinka and Blazers fans. I had a reporter from, I think he was from the OC Register or maybe one of the local stations down here, tweeting at me tonight, some blue checkmark guy getting in my mention saying Pelinka's GM of the year. I'm like, okay, Pelinka, no one thinks that, right? This guy's saying he brought in AD. They bounced back from last season. I go,
oh, motherfuckers.
You bounced back from last season. Pelinka built last year's roster. Pelinka put guys that couldn't shoot, Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson, around LeBron. Pelinka didn't have to do shit to get LeBron in LA. All right. Pelinka's like the rich kid with the cool parents who they let him have parties and everyone's friends with the guy, right? Everyone wants to come hang with the guy, but he's not cool. He just happens to live there. Like Pelinka just happens to be the GM of a franchise that LeBron would have wanted to play for no matter who was the GM. So to call Pelinka GM of the year, and that ties back in to my disdain for Lakers fans, is you have legitimate media members down here in SoCal that believe those things that are just insane to me. I mean, it's like brain rot. Lakers Nation has brain rot.
there's a team out there that acquired 2 superstars in one offseason and still kept together a bench that scored over 50 points per game, and they're across the hall. Like
exactly, bro. Exactly.
Talking about building, like they did. I think they did a good job, like with the hand that they were dealt the Lakers. I think they did everything. Like I'll give them credit for that. But if we're talking about like construction of teams, like to acquire Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the same offseason and still maintain a bench that led the league in scoring, at least from like when it comes to benches, like that's insane.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, don't forget that the Lakers pissed away Lou Williams and pissed away Zubats.
Yeah.
Like, we need big names. We don't need these guys.
Well, this is okay. First of all, God, this just gets my blood boiling, but it's hilarious to me. Rob Pelinka, when they did, so they traded Mike Muscala. Or they got Mike Muscala. They traded for Mike Muscala from the Clippers and gave them Ivica Zubac, who's now, a great piece for the Clippers, a great role player on a team and a big body. And when they did that trade, Rob Pelinka is on the record. I tweeted it out earlier. Rob Pelinka said, to me, he's Muscala is like a Julian Edelman type. He's a guy that he comes in and he doesn't wow you with his numbers or his physical stats, but he's a glue guy. He's the kind of guy you want on your roster to win championship. This is the same Pelinka who, when they signed KCP, he said this. He compared him to bread from heaven. This is like manna coming down. And these signings are pedestrian at best. What do you call it?
By the way, another by the way that I should jump in on. When you say Pelinka signed this guy or that guy, LeBron made the decision on so many of them. The KCP was essentially paving the way to make sure that LeBron was there. That's a buddy of LeBron and it's part of the agency. So that's a narrative we've talked about going back to Cleveland that, again, I love LeBron. He's an awesome freaking player, but my God, his personnel judgment stinks. It really does. And there's going to be a point during these playoffs. I don't think they're going to lose this series, but there's going to be a point where they come up short, they don't make it, and he's going to look around just like he did in Cleveland and go, like, who put this team together? I got no help. Like, you did.
Yes.
You keep dumping good players and bringing in your buddies, and thankfully now, J.R. Smith and some of the other jabronis he played with over the years, bringing in Dion Waiters, off the trash heap. Like, you can actually have a quality bench. I mean, the Clippers, as John said 5 minutes ago, the Clippers have all these superstars, and yet somehow these guys on the bench are they would be studs on other teams, and they're capable any night when one of the big ones, when one of the big two is out, they can go out there and score 25 points.
And we should be.
Oh, go ahead, JVT. Okay, I was just going to say, LeBron, this roster, the guys LeBron loves bringing in would have been awesome 5-6 years ago. But there's this narrative that Danny Green is a knockdown three-point shooter in the playoffs. He hasn't been since he was on the Spurs. There's this narrative that Rajon Rondo he turns it up in the playoffs and he's a lockdown defender. He hasn't been a positive defender.
Rondo.
He hasn't been a positive defender in about 5-6 years. All these guys, Alex Caruso, Mike Trudell, who's a Lakers sideline reporter earlier this year, on the record saying, I think Alex Caruso is better than Lou Williams, straight up. So when I talk about, that's real, look that up, Mike Trudell from Spectrum Sports. So when I talk about my disdain for the Lakers and the narratives around them, it's that the media down here, the fans, they're all brain dead. There's something wrong. They're all drinking some Kool-Aid that just the glasses are so thick they can't see. So that's my disdain, because I'm trying to have intelligent conversations like, hey, guys, Rob Pelinka's not great. Your front office kind of screwed you the last 6 years. You stumbled into LeBron. Response from a verified reporter. Rob Pelinka's the GM of the year. So how do I live in a world like I just can't deal with that? I can't do it.
I think, too, there's a couple things. One, we should be fair in terms of the way they're constructed right now. Like, they were going to have Avery Bradley. Rajon Rondo gets hurt. Like, Avery Bradley was a really big loss for them. The fact that Bradley didn't want to play, that really sucked. And that really screwed them on a lot of things, because even remember, like, the one game they won, well, they won 2 games, but the last game of the series against Los Angeles before the hiatus, like, he went off and hit, 6 3-pointers and won that game for them, essentially. Like, he was really important for them. But I'll say this, too. Like, I'm glad you brought up Caruso, because I think tonight, like, it's a really good example. Like, they get thin. Rondo's hurt. damn, another by the way too. I got that. I believe in playoff Rondo, but that's he's been fucking awesome in the playoffs. Sometimes there was, if you go back, so AD, remember AD's one playoff series victory? It was against the Trailblazers, and he destroyed Yusuf Nurkic. They were awesome. Rondo was fucking great in that series. They get a 21 assist game in like game 2 or 3 against Portland. Like he was fucking unreal, and he was hitting shots left and right, like from deep. Also, he was on that Bulls team, if you remember, like, what was it, 3 years ago, where it was him, Wade, and Jimmy Butler. They were an 8 seed. And Steve, I bet him an 8-1 to beat Boston, the 1 seed. And they went up 2-0. And then Rondo broke his hand. And then they ended up losing 4 straight. So I believe in playoff Rondo. Anyway, overall, when it comes to Lakers and Caruso, like, Caruso, I think, is a really big positive defensively. He does really good small things, right? He's good off the ball. He's good on help defense. He'll get pesky turnovers. But when he plays 29 minutes, like, he needs to shoot more. Like, that's the downside. He's not an offensive player, man. Like, he had that really big breakout year, but that was a total anomaly. Like, he's 1 for 6 today, 0 of 3 from deep. Like, that's part of the problem too. Like, he's pretty solid on defense, but like, he sucks on offense, and that's what happens when their roster now kind of thin because of some of the losses. Like, that's where they're at.
Well, and it looks like, too, talking about LeBron building this roster, it looks like that LeBron doesn't trust anyone out there besides AD. It's the playoffs now, and LeBron's looking around like he doesn't trust anyone besides AD, which is kind of classic LeBron on the teams where he's been good, but they haven't got it done. He didn't trust most of his teammates, even though he's usually the one who brought them there.
JVT, how bad were they from 3 tonight? Because this is something you talked about before the bubble, during the bubble. Like, they can't. They were 5 of 32 from 3.
Yeah, like that's hard. That's really hard, by the way. No, you're right. Like, they're thin. And like, think about this. Like, so right now, your best 3-point option is KCP. And KCP went what? 0 for 6, I think, if I remember correctly, from deep today. 0 for 9 overall. So he's not going to do that again. He's a 38% shooter. But like Alex brought it up, Danny Green, he's only a 36% 3-point shooter this season. You know, he's insanely streaky. We saw it in Toronto's run last year. If you guys remember too, like, there was like a 9-game stretch where he was just atrocious. He was shooting at like a 12% clip over almost 10 games. He was terrible for Toronto last year for a good stretch. So he's really streaky. And then after that, you're talking about LeBron, who's at 34%, right? Anthony Davis, who's at 33%. Kuzma's at 31%. I brought up Caruso already. Their 3 best 3-point shooters from a percentage standpoint right now on the roster are actually Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, because they're hitting at 60 and 50%, because I think they've taken like 2 3-point attempts on the season. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough, man. They don't have any shooting. And like, who's their best out of AD and LeBron? Who's their best shot creator as it stands right now? Like, who are you going to give? It's Kyle Kuzma, and he's not that efficient. You know, who can you give the ball to and go, all right, like, create some offense, please, outside of the 2 guys that we have? And there's really nobody.
I'll tell you, when I looked up, and I think it was like a 5-point game with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and somehow Caruso got the ball back in his hands because nothing was working on offense, and he takes like a leading 3. I'm like, fuck this. This is done. The other matchup that we talked about going in, like, Anthony Davis had 28, but I wouldn't call that a destruction of Nurkic. And then friggin' Nurkic in the first half had a double-double. He finished with 16 and 15. So, like, Anthony Davis didn't dominate Nurkic enough, and Nurkic actually played pretty well.
Well, I think something that I like to overhype this because I'm a Laker hater, and I got to put that caveat out there because I do enjoy hating on the Lakers. So tonight's win was extra sweet for me, especially against the Clippers. The Clippers won their game. But to me, something with Anthony Davis, I know he's played real well this season. He's playing with LeBron. He plays better as a number 2 than a number 1. He just doesn't have that much postseason experience. He's won 1 series. He's been to 3 series. And when he was in New Orleans, he couldn't put the team on his back and get it done. He put up big numbers, but he didn't win games. And I think that there's something to be said about that. I think AD is incredible. He's super fun to watch. He's a generational talent. But if he's that generational, why couldn't he win more than 1 playoff series when he was with the Pelicans?
John, you want to react?
The teams weren't that good around him.
I'm going to put that more on the team.
The best version of the team that he had did win a playoff series, right? And
they swept the Blazers.
They swept the Blazers, and that was a really surprising sweep. I think was that a 3-6 matchup? if I remember correctly. Like,
yeah, that was a shock. That was like, what the hell's wrong with Portland moment.
And in series, he averaged 33, 11, and was it like 2.8 blocks or something like that? Like, he was really good.
I was afraid you'd bring up his numbers. His numbers were good. I just don't like that he couldn't get it done. But I wanted to just to talk about Caruso one more time. That sequence that you were talking about there, where it was just a little bit over a minute left, and Caruso got the ball, and just right before that, Caruso was guarding Dame on defense,
my God,
and just looked lost.
There was a Lillard breakdown that started near midcourt, and Caruso, he got turned the wrong way. He got blown by, and then there were multiple times on defense tonight where the Lakers got destroyed off the dribble, and they just they're just like, go. Point to someone to help. Like, it's not there. Not there. You like in the case of, come on, dude. He can't start from midcourt and beat you off the dribble.
We always talk about legacy with guys like LeBron or some of these older players, but looking at Dame's legacy, the run that he's having, if he could do this, if he could knock off the 1 seed and continue this tear, I mean, he's skyrocketing up the all-time point guard rankings, I think. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I think I'm surprised. Like, I think there's a narrative that Damian Lillard isn't respected. Do you think that's true? Because I think he is. Like, he's what? How many? I think is it 4 when it comes to the walk-off like series-ending shots. Like, he's got 2 of them. There's 4, I think, in NBA history though. Like, or whatever like minuscule number it is. He's got a good chunk of them. Like, I don't know, man. I always thought Damian Lillard was pretty well respected, but I always feel like there's like this thing every time he's on like a stage like this, where everyone's like, we got to start respecting Dame Lillard. Like, who doesn't? Like, if you watch the NBA, who doesn't?
No, that's very. I mean, I think it's totally born out of the Portland Blazers mentality, and just it's the Dame self-created chip on the shoulder. Like, at this point, Damian Lillard is respected. He's an all-star. He's got a shoe deal. He's everywhere. He's in commercials. He's on the cover of the new NBA 2K. Dame time. He's a household name. It sucks in terms of his brand that he plays in Portland. Like, if he were on the Lakers or a big market team, he'd be the guy in the NBA, I think, behind a LeBron, because he's got the personality for it. But no, Dame's not disrespected. Like, at this point, everyone knows what he's capable of, and they still act shocked when he does it.
Can I give you a bit of Twitter analysis? Because John, and you'll find this out, Alex, I just love searching like just something I see or some term on Twitter and see what comes up. LeBron tonight had 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 16 assists. Brandon, who's under B Dopeland, said, nah. I don't think that's the way he said it. Nah. LeBron ain't attacked the basket enough. Weakest triple-double I ever seen. Do people rank triple? There's got to be a triple-double out there that was like 11, 10, and 10. That
I will say this
was somehow short of what LeBron did tonight.
I will say this. There were times where it looked like LeBron was like playing a video game and trying to make the hard pass or doing crazy passes that his teammates almost weren't ready for. And it was like, Bron, just go to the hoop. Like, take over the game right now. Stop trying to feed, JaVale McGee on a no-look bounce pass inside. But LeBron is that good. And I guess I don't think it was a weak triple-double. I don't know. I still think the Lakers are going to win this series.
I think they're going to win it. I think there's a reality check here that this is not going to be an easy path to the finals. The better team is the Clippers. So if they get by the Clippers, good for them. And there'll be someone good from the East who can freaking challenge them. There's so many things from the game too when you're watching it. I swear to God, the announcers were calling the Lakers like trio of 7-footers, which are not really all 7 feet tall, but like at one point they talked about a duo being like a 2-headed monster. And I'm like, they're all fucking 6.4. Well, not Anthony Davis. The 2 guys who come in or rotate in what's his name? Bum-ass McGee. Howard and Dwight. Could Dwight Howard foul 14 times, get called for 4 of them, and complain on every goddamn foul? And he gets stuffed at the rim constantly. Like, guys, know your role. And like Alex said a couple minutes ago, freaking have your hands up, have your head on the swivel, be ready to take a pass because they got to get better play than they got. And the other one is I got home to watch the game, and my girlfriend's sitting there, and she's a Lakers fan, and she's like, you should have heard what Barkley said they were going to sweep, and Shaq got all over him. And then, of course, Barkley after the game was he behind the 75-foot wide desk like with a broom?
Dude, how big is that set? Is that something you guys talk about? It's in a
yes, all the time.
Yeah.
Because it also
so
happened.
big.
It happened tonight when I think, let's see who got mad. I think then there was another moment. I think Barkley said he called Kuzma Carl.
Yeah.
And Shaq is like, it's Kyle. And then Barkley's like, Shaq, I don't know what. One of them is yelling, right. I can't hear you. You're so far away, I can't hear you.
Dude,
that whole thing is
so
hilarious.
Big. It's the biggest set. Where is that? Is it in Atlanta?
Yeah, if they're still doing the Studio J or whatever it is, yeah, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's gigantic, man. It's on a huge property, apparently.
Dude, that was great. And by the way, the Harden clip, I know I sent it to you, Steve. Like where they're talking about Harden, and like Chuck drops the line where he goes, Harden's one of the best players I've ever seen in my life, and immediately Shaq's like, in your life, not in your life, not in your life, and they're like just shouting him down, and then like at one point, like 15 to 20 seconds into them just berating him, Kenny Smith is doing it too. Chuck just goes like his shoulders slump, and he goes, can I just finish what I was about to say? Like
he was kind of beaten down tonight because they got on him about saying the best in his life like 3 times,
right.
And then Dean started coming in, and then Kenny Smith is like, you're drinking that cup of milk, and it's the best milk ever. I'm gonna pull up the Barkley thing with Harden because I know you love that.
It's good. It's so good. I'm gonna be sad when that show's not on air.
Oh yeah, I'm not big on like. I know that like there's some favorite Monday Night Football booths and shit. I'm not big on like announcer teams. I think they're all generally the same. Some are a little bit better than others, but I don't hate any of them. But like when it comes to this, like with the pregame show, this is one of the best shows on television. Like just shows in general. Like it's funny, they're great. It's going to be a bummer when when eventually they're not together or whatever it is, because this is this is genius sports television in my mind.
No, I think a lot of those pregame, postgame shows, the desks are too big in terms of people on them, and they have too many voices, and it's like this is just in there, and they're all generic. And so I think this one does cut through the noise. I love having it on. There's not that. Yeah, I agree with that take, JVT. I strongly agree with that.
How about this one? This is from John Middlecoff, who is in the Bay Area, was working for one of the stations there. I think The Game, did some scouting in the NFL. He's a white. And I only say that because a lot of times his NBA takes, I don't know if they're brutally honest or they're just tainted with some unexplainable dislike of the NBA. He said the NBA's worst nightmare is the Lakers getting bounced in round 1, been the only team doing good TV numbers. What do you think of that first part?
I think that's wrong. I mean, you still have you have the defending Finals MVP on one team, right? You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning regular season MVP, on another team that could potentially meet in the NBA Finals. You have James. You have I don't know. Maybe I'm the wrong person to ask because I can point out all the positives. Like I don't think LeBron's very popular, and they wouldn't love it, but I think they wouldn't suffer anything without him.
I think there's this narrative going on right now, particularly from sports media people that like to have a little bit of a right-wing bent, kind of like the Clay Travises of the world, where they love to bring up how Fox News and all these other shows are killing the NBA and TV ratings. But I do think that the way the NBA is consumed and the demographics that consume it, especially the younger ones, aren't necessarily sitting down and watching cable television. They're streaming, they're getting highlights on their phone, they're getting highlights on Twitter. They're watching it in ways that I don't think TV ratings quantify, and I don't think that the NBA is necessarily caught up to figuring out how to make money off of and market to. But I think the NBA's I think to your point, JVT, I think if the Lakers got eliminated, yeah, it'd be bad because they'd lose LeBron. But I think that hardcore NBA fans or just younger NBA fans have a lot of other players in the league, especially, they've got Giannis, they've got the Clippers, and they've got younger dudes that they want to watch. So I think
I've said it before. James Harden is the best.
It's coming up. It's coming up. That was premature.
In my life.
All right. Coming up. Goddamn thing.
By the way, so I see in the chat, so ASU Whiskers, let me ask you, how much NBA do you generally watch? Because he says that nobody cares about Milwaukee. Nobody would watch a Milwaukee Clippers final. I think that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. You have Kawhi Leonard, one of the most popular players in the NBA, one of the best players in the NBA, right? Taking on one of its biggest stars in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And it's a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals from last year, in which Kawhi took on and beat Giannis Antetokounmpo. everybody's saying, by the way, in the chat, like that it would hurt them. Yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt them at all. Like, obviously, it's a big fan base and it's a popular team, but
it's not ideal. It's not
right,
ideal.
It's not ideal, exactly. But and we haven't heard the rest of the tweet from Steve that he's about to read. But like to indicate that the NBA, I don't know, like the indication at the beginning of that tweet is the NBA's dead if LeBron's gone. Like I don't think.
And this has been a common theme with Middlecoff. The back end of it was this is another smart aleck remark about the NBA that it's fixed and it was fixed in the past. He said, "We know Stern would place calls and change the series and they'd move on. Not sure that Silver has the stones, but he might be desperate enough." I will mention that John is an NFL guy. What league seems fishier, the NBA at times or the NFL over the years with the Patriots?
I would probably say the Patriots, considering everything they've gotten away with that we know about.
I would say the NBA has that rep, but I think takes like that are so lazy. Takes like that from Middlecoff are so lazy, and there's this like group of people. I guess it's like NFL people, and it's white dudes with a slight right wing bent that just want to point out how the NBA's ratings aren't what you think they are, and it's because the Black Lives Matter thing, and it's this and that, and it's just like, man, if you want to compare the NBA ratings to cable TV news shows, well, how do people watch Sean Hannity? How do people watch Tucker Carlson? They watch it on cable TV. They get the ratings from that. How do people watch the NBA? A lot of different ways. The demographic is younger. They're getting clips on their phone. That doesn't mean that the reach is there, the engagement. So I think takes like that are lazy.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, like the NBA, it's kind of like the whole thing, the NBA in China. Like the NBA does itself no favors with something like this. Like Matt Humans and I have talked about this before. How a guy like Scott Foster is still an official in your league. You know what I mean? After everything with Tim Donaghy and the fact that Tim Donaghy, I think, reportedly called him like 150 something times, near the end of his stretch when he was fixing, when he was altering games with the outcomes and betting on them. Like things like that are always going to hang around the league. And the fact that you have one official still active that's actively tied to that, like you aren't doing yourself any favors. Scott Foster,
that was one of the flaws of Stern, is that he was incredibly arrogant. Right. Dude, swallow your pride, do the right thing for the league, and move on. These guys are jackasses, and they stay in the league. Try to at least distance yourself from that as much as possible, but there were times when no one could tell David Stern that he was wrong.
Mm-hmm. So, totally, yeah. And there's bad officiating for sure. I get furious at NBA refs. I will at some point. Yeah. This postseason, I'll go on a rant at some point.
But and to Steve's point too, by the way, like if we're using the Patriots analogy too, Steve, like. When we're talking about fishiness, and it's the same thing like with this lazy take that the NBA's fixed or, making a call and all that shit. For some fans, the stigma is always going to be there about the Patriots being cheaters. And for some people, the NBA, it's always going to be there, the stigma of being fixed. Right. It's just never going to go away,
Well, and the leagues have, a similar deal with the officials. I'm not saying anything's fixed, but you do get star treatment in both leagues. And it's for you guys to judge, has LeBron been treated like a star his entire career where, they make sure he's in the game. They're going to call a lot of fouls on him. I'm sorry. Anytime someone touches them, they're going to call fouls on the opposition. On the flip side, Tom Brady has been protected. I mean, there's no doubt in my fucking mind. I don't care what the Hockey Lee family says, the retired one or the son, the weightlifting dudes. Cam Newton said that the old Hockey Lee said, "Hey, you know what? You're not going to get that call. You're not Tom." And then like, I would never say that. Yeah, he did, because we hear the fucking chatty shit all the time from the officials who think they're like somehow part of the game, and they said it. You know that Hockey Lee said it. Oh no, Cam made it up. We can't find it on a mic. Cut it out.
Officials fucking stuff up pisses me off more than the Patriots cheating. I actually don't mind teams cheating that much, or players using steroids or PEDs, whatever. I don't mind that. I kind of just take that as gamesmanship, part of the game. But officials screwing stuff up, tuck rule type stuff, protecting players. I saw LeBron truck Hassan Whiteside tonight, no whistle. I mean, I know those star calls are there. And I agree with Gil the Thrill here in the chat. That was a bad call yesterday to kick Porzingis out of the game. That was weak. You don't do that in a playoff game. I didn't like that. As a Clippers fan, I'm pissed about that. I don't like when refs influence games that much. It pisses me off. And I know people say, that's one of the hardest jobs. We should be easy on them. But it's like, I don't care. They signed up to be a ref. I don't want to, it's a hard job. Like, you could screw up here and there. It's like, yeah, so is a cop. You know what I mean? And we're criticizing, we're asking them to be reformed. Defund the officials. That's my take.
They all make mistakes. UFC had a horrible, I was going to say play call, but it's neither. Mark Goddard missed an eye poke in the middle of the fight with Cormier, and
poker and gouge,
and Miocic, and then he's telling Mark Goddard, the official, what's going on, and then Goddard starts lecturing. I'm like, nope, it was a punch, son. Like, Mark, you're like 45. The fighter's 42. Cut it out with the son stuff and the lecturing. Yeah, it's also, and as ASU Whisker says, it's also super inconsistent. And, you know, from game to game, you can play super physical. Then the next game, they're going to clamp down on things. So
that's all we want is consistency, right? I just want consistency.
Sure, that's what the players want.
Throughout a game. I mean, game to game, if there's a change, okay, I guess I deal with that. But in a game, when the calls change, that's when we're fucked.
This is a moment that Von Tobel is going to hold on to for years. Because John is outside of Houston. John is as big a James Harden defender as anyone I know, and he bashing on Harden legitimately gets Von Tobel to fly off the handle because he'll go into like no one has any idea how good this guy is. He gets crapped on all the time. He would kill people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Oh, that's not even a question. Stop it. He would destroy everybody in his path. We'd build
so would Alex Caruso. So would Alex Caruso.
Caruso, you're right. Caruso would be Bob Cousy in the 50s and 60s.
I don't know.
But this guy, Harden would put Oscar Robertson to shame.
I have my Twitter avatar is the 1955-1956 Syracuse Nationals. I think Alex Caruso would fit wonderfully with them. he would be a fantastic Syracuse National.
Here's the kind of comments.
Play the video.
Yeah. One more here. Brady's being sarcastic, but John sees this all the time.
Stop.
Harden wouldn't survive in the 90s. He's not tough enough to survive the game back then.
Like, it's ridiculous. Just stop. And people think that. People think that because they're so uneducated about the game that they think immediately when a guy goes to the free throw line that he's a pussy because he can't handle the fouls. He's a next level genius because Harden at the free throw line is more efficient than a wide open Steph Curry 3-point shot. That is fact. That is a statistic. That is absolutely.
That doesn't mean I like watching him play.
Doesn't matter. He's awesome. Just because
great. I don't want
a different level. It's fantastic. And by the way, how do you not? The step back three is great to watch. Watching him consistently beat dudes 1-on-1 off the dribble. Are you serious? Did you watch in the seeding games? Was it the Kings where he puts the dude in the fucking blender and like puts it between his legs like 30 times and then blows by him and finishes with a floater? Like, are you kidding me?
He's an offensive savant. He's an offensive savant, but I don't like watching the Rockets play. Give me some Harden highlights, but he's ruined his overall status for me. I don't like the way he draws. It's great. It's great, JVT. If he was on my team and he was winning games for us.
Oh, you'd love him.
I would love him for sure. But I don't like watching him play. Normalize disliking James Harden style of basketball. You're like a stats guy. You're a numbers guy. You love that stuff. Harden kills it across all. The deeper you dig, the better he is.
Right,
numbers.
Dude. Yep.
I know. That's why you like him. And to me, I'm just over it. I'm just over it.
Freeze and layups. The statistical, like, just wonderkind. Dude, so good. He's so good. And just even today, there's so many, there's multiple spots. And you know what I like so much about him? And mainly it's probably because he goes to the free throw line so many times and you kind of go on autopilot in those free throw situations. But it's like, there's so many games where you blink and you're like, wait a minute, he's got 45 points. It's like, are you really? Like the first game of the bubble, the Mavericks game, if you guys remember that, I watched that, I watched every single play of that. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter where I'm looking at finally checked the box score. I'm like, holy shit, he's got 38 points. That's ridiculous.
I'm not a fan of
he's not a flopper. You just don't watch. I'm sorry.
Oh, he flops, bro. No, he flops big time.
No, he doesn't.
Big time. Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't flop any more than the average NBA player does. He uses the Euro step to his advantage. It opens up the window more for a foul call. He's brilliant in the way he plays the game. He's not a flopper.
I'm not a
fan. He takes
fan.
More hard contact than half of the players in the NBA. You guys
He's initiating it. He's initiating it.
Not all of it. And again, a guy like ASU's Whiskers, who's a casual fan and who watches maybe 4 games of the Houston Rockets, not of the NBA, but of the Houston Rockets in a series, or in a season, until the postseason, and it's like, this guy sucks. He's a flopper. Like, no, you don't watch him on a night-to-night basis.
I think hardcore NBA fans, I think diehard NBA people, which I am. I'm a big NBA junkie, and I can tell you watch a lot of hoops, JVT. But I think NBA fans, hardcore junkies, like to be in the club, and they're like, oh, we're hard. Oh, you just don't watch enough Harden. Oh, you just don't appreciate the game enough. You don't get it, casual fan. If you watch enough NBA, then you appreciate Harden. We're the Harden guy. Like, it's like a badge of it's like you can't sit at this table. Like, we're Harden people. You don't get it. And I'm like, no, I get it. I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
Alex has gotten to the core of Cofield and Company. This is John's approach, and more so Adam Hill's approach. We're just smarter than you.
No,
you guys just don't know what we know. You're not part of the club, you dummies. Robin Leonard and Marc-Andre Fleury. Oh,
you're wrong about You're wrong about the Fleury thing. But here's the thing:
turning up their nose at
the
great unwashed who don't understand the greatness of
snobbery. It's snobbery. It's basketball snobbery.
The way I differ from Adam is my door is open. I'm trying to convert Alex right now to come to the Harden side. Yeah, like come. I'm telling you, come enjoy James Harden. He's
a missionary.
Awesome. Yeah, like I am sitting here. I'm welcoming you into the church of James Harden. I am telling you, come bask in our temple. Like, it is a fun place to be. Like, I'm not, oh, you don't get it. You suck. You're stupid. I'm like, no, you should come enjoy this with me. This is a wonderful experience.
I've read the gospel and it just doesn't get through to me, man. I just can't get into the service.
John needs support here. I'm actually a big Harden supporter too, but here's Barkley. This is flabbergasting.
Harden is the best one-on-one player I may have ever seen in my life. You can spread.
Ever seen in your life?
In my life.
No.
I mean, James is the best of this era.
Stop it.
No, hold on for a second.
Stop it.
Don't say in your life. Stop it.
Stop it.
Not in your life.
Don't say in your life. Just hold it. Just can I say what I want to say?
Say what you want to say.
It's my who we were, and they're better players. They weren't the three-point shooters that James was.
No, James is the best
one-on-one player
in this era that I've ever seen.
That's
this era.
But
I would say that if you, I don't want to be a hater. I'm gonna just leave it. If you put those guys in this era, come on.
Yes, but those guys weren't great three-point shooters. Like
because
Michael
they didn't.
It's great. Listen, it's great.
That wasn't the style of play.
That's what I'm saying.
They would have moved that. But you've seen Michael do this. You've seen Kobe hit.
Oh no,
would have taken
James
more.
Harden is a better three.
But they would have taken
what I love when Kenny Smith's like, you've seen Michael do this. Yeah, when he got hot and hit 5 threes, he was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I suck from 3.
Yeah,
I can't even explain this.
I've got an issue with the era comparison.
I can't believe Kenny Smith just went to. I hate that part. But go ahead, Alex. We'll play the round. I'm gonna actually play it over because we didn't get to see the video when Shaq.
Play it.
Don't say ever.
Again, so you're about to play it. For those who are watching, the defeated Charles Barkley. Like, can I just say what I want to say? It's the best part. It's so good.
Okay. This is a troll. Stop.
What?
ASU Whiskers. Bird, Jordan, Iverson, among many, many others, are better one-on-one.
Maybe so. Jordan? You guys are gonna say Harden's better one-on-one than Jordan?
It was the first name. I think Larry Bird is awesome, but come on.
If we're talking about shit like one-on-one, like elusiveness, shot create, like come on, in isolation like that, like Harden, that's what I mean, Alex, too. When I say this, like he's so. Like we talk about Damian Lillard not getting respect because Harden doesn't play a style that is appeasing to the eye. He is not given the credit for how good he is physically as a basketball player, like how good he is as a ball handler, how good he is off the bounce, how good he is in like basic forms of basketball. Not even just exploiting like numbers in the free throw line. I'm just talking about like on a just a basketball basis because people don't like watching him. He doesn't get credit for how actually good he is in certain aspects of his game.
Come and listen to this band I really like. No, you just don't get it. You got to listen to them more. You got to listen to more of their albums. You don't understand the concept. That's what I'm hearing from you, JB.
Well, no, but actually you agreed with me earlier. Like you understand the aspects that are good of his game. I'm talking about the general narrative around him is I think he's underappreciated because people don't like to watch him play. You understand what makes him, but you understand the step back three is a big part of his game.
I get it. I just don't want to go to your church. All right.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm pushing back here with on ASU Whiskers. Like, that's all. He when you say that there's many more who are better at him in one-on-one, I just don't think you watch enough, and you just don't want to appreciate how good he can be in that aspect.
Just said he loves him. He's an ASU fan. All right, let's play the whole clip here because there's so many amazing parts of this.
I've said it before. James Harden is the best one-on-one player I may have ever seen in my life. You can spread.
Ever seen in your life?
In my life.
Charles.
No.
I mean, James is the best of this era.
Stop it.
No, hold on for a second.
He's not.
Don't say in your life. Stop it.
Why is Shaq so mad?
It's so good.
Sounds like he's yelling at a child. Why is I'm going to teach you a lesson? Don't ever say in your life. Like,
Bro, that set, that is a bomb, like a B-52 bomber hangar. That is the biggest set.
Oh my God.
Mo Buckets, Mo Spates.
They all start ganging up on him. He's giving an opinion. He's the best he's ever seen. This happens all the time.
You out. Stop it.
He's not in your life.
Don't say in your life.
Just hold it. Just can I say what I want to say?
You say you want to say.
As great as Michael and Kobe were, and they're better players, they weren't the three-point shooters that James was.
No, James is the best
One-on-one player.
like, in this era that I've ever seen.
That's-
in this era.
And
But I would
like-
say that if you, I don't want to be a hater. I'm gonna just leave it. If you put those guys in this era, come on.
Yeah.
But those guys weren't great three-point shooters. Like
Because
Michael
they
Jordan,
didn't
it's
have
great. Listen, it's great.
That wasn't the style of play.
That's what I'm
they
saying.
would have moved that. But you've seen Michael do this. You've seen Kobe hit.
Oh no,
They would have
but
taken
James
more.
Harden is a better three-point
But they would have
shooter.
taken more.
You don't know that.
They would have.
And you don't know if they would have been as great as shooters as James.
Are you?
Hey, listen, I'm entitled to my opinion. You don't. Hey, listen.
James is great. James is great. Greatest player
all
in
I'm
this era.
saying is,
Greatest
So one
player.
category makes you the best ever.
No, he's the best one-on-one player in this era.
yes, he is.
So one category makes you the best ever. Just because he's a better shooter, that makes him the best player.
But I'm
No,
saying
I
he
mean,
can
no,
score. He
he's
can
the
score
best
just
scorer.
like those guys.
I agree with you. I agree with that. He's the best scorer in this era, without question. And I would love to learn how to score with the way he does if I was a player, like, because everyone's stealing all of his moves anyway.
Three straight scoring titles for James.
All right.
I actually agree with what Chuck's saying, though. I think if you took, I hate when we look at Wilt Chamberlain stats and everyone goes, well, he played against a bunch of, businessmen that were playing in the offseason, blah, blah, blah. I think if you took guys from the past and you put them in the current era with modern medicine and training staffs and they worked on their three-point shot, they could be.
I think
be
most of
right
the
up there.
most of the legends of the past would be very, very good. I'm curious to see what would happen defensively now that there's more athleticism. The player pool is from the entire world, not just from the United States, and guys are bigger. So that's just fact. It's if someone is pretty athletic and they can play defense, and you were used to playing guys who were not so athletic at 6'7", like Craig Elo or fucking Jerry Sichting at 6'2", and now the Jerry Sichting type is, even if you want to go white to white, which I hate doing this, if the Jerry Sichting type is JJ Redick, like JJ Redick is pushing 6'6". There's just a difference. The court is the same size. So that's what I would be intrigued by. But no, the great players would be great now. Just like Harden could go back and he would have reinvented the game in many ways with lots of his moves and his three-point shooting and his ability to draw fouls. And guess what? He would adjust. If he wasn't getting those foul calls, then he would do something different. So
Harden, man. He just doesn't do it for me, JVT. He just doesn't do it for me.
you don't have to keep poking. You don't have to keep
But
poking.
okay. Well, I tweeted this earlier today. I said
Yeah.
it's okay to not enjoy watching James Harden play. It's okay. You don't have to enjoy it. It's fine. You can still be an NBA fan.
Hey, real quick, John's got to go because John has to get up pretty early to do his show. We kept him way longer. So, John,
Okay.
we appreciate it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, John.
We will shuffle in big fella.
Oh,
I wanted to say hi to John.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, he's gone. He was supposed to be gone like 25 minutes ago, but he loves James Harden, so he'll stay around for a conversation anytime on that one.
I didn't expect that. I didn't know we were going to go there. Oh, Adam, you're a James Harden guy too, I heard. But we don't need to keep.
No. We're
talking
not.
about
We're not doing.
No.
We're not doing old timey
No.
NBA with Adam Hill because it gets.
I'm not a James Harden guy. I'm a fact guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, that's what they always say.
And Charles
That's what they
Barkley was 100% correct.
Please don't. We'll do that. We're gonna do this probably Wednesday and Friday. This will be like an hour with JVT, and I'm sure Adam will want to do it. tomorrow. Real quick, because we want to give the Vegas audience the recap of VGK, and then we have to get to a couple of cool videos. And Alex was not happy with some Club 99 rankings we had the last couple of days. You know what, Alex? I didn't even include the cured meats. We did cured meats yesterday.
Oh, what?
But, yeah, today we had I know, right? It's so exciting. We had an ad lib on.
That does excite me.
My heart does flutter when I start talking about ham versus bacon versus.
Yeah.
What is it, Adam? What's capicola? How do you say it?
I don't know. By the way, I accidentally commented in the chat and it was under your name, so I apologize.
How nice.
Capicol?
Capicol.
Come on, everyone knows it. I said it like 12 times.
The gabagool?
There it is, gabagool. Yeah, because you get it in front of Satriali's meats in The Sopranos, or Tony asked Carmela at home after he just banged some lady on the side, and he's like, "Where's the gabagool?" She's like, "Go fuck yourself, Tony." All right, Golden Knights close it out. By the way, just so you know, I actually wanted to ask John about the Bucks series because now I got to chase some money. I can bet the Bucks to win in 5 minus 220, or I can bet them to win in 6 and it's plus 250 because I got to chase some money because I bet the Lakers tonight. I got them in play plus 2.5. That was a loss. I bet the Blackhawks every game in the series.
Yikes.
Oh boy.
Alex, they kept falling behind. So I'm like, all right, they're going to win a couple of these games. I'm getting them at plus 240. I'm getting them at 270. And of course, I did get the win in game 4, but was I increasing my bets to cover the past bets? No. So
you're down.
I need some winners, man.
By the way, did you say the Bucks are minus 220 to win in 5?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be more cost effective to just roll it over every game?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just play. Well, you're going to play the spread and you can't play money line.
No, I think you play money line. I think it's still more cost effective.
I guess you could game to game. Yeah, we'll have to crunch those numbers. Yeah. So the Golden Knights win tonight. They were awesome in the third period. I thought we can get to Leonard in a second, but the game early was paced a lot by Pacioretty, and then Tuck came on late. He had a goal disallowed, but man, if those two guys get going, and Stone had some big moments, but they were impressive. You know what? They were impressive because they're gigantic dudes and are super skilled. They were impressive, but also I don't know what was going on in the third period, but Chandler Stevenson was like freaking like triple speed versus everyone else. He was all over the place, and he came really close to scoring a goal on a deflection, and he just missed. But his impact, I mean, that set up a lot of Tuck. Tuck just crashing, and Stevenson's all over the place.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they want to get Pacioretty going. Of course, Tuck is the bigger one. To me, Tuck is the guy. If he gets going, look out for this team because we know what their top two lines can do. And Pacioretty was struggling to get back into a rhythm, but we know what the top two lines can do, and we know that other teams can try to figure out how to neutralize them. They can, if they have last change, if they're considered the home team, quote unquote, in the bubble, they can go last change and they can try to match up defensively with the top two lines of the Golden Knights. It's not easy, but you can try to make that work. If you've got the third line rolling like they are right now, like they did last game, they were the best line on the ice. This game, again, effective. Tuck gets the one goal. He almost he put it in the net, but didn't get credit for the second goal. If that third line is buzzing the way they were today and scoring goals, that's where this team is really dangerous. So I think that's the bigger development. Pacioretty's offense is going to come, and his line's offense is going to come. We know that. I don't think that was a big concern. As much as he didn't look right the first couple games, that was going to happen. Tuck is the big deal if that third line is going. So that's something to definitely watch.
Okay, I'll say Leonard has taken control. He was good in the third period, and even in that final 30-second flurry, pun intended, I guess. I said flurry, but flurry. That was crazy. For as big a guy as he is, he was down. He's moving the pads. That was nuts. The other thing that was great at the end of the game, and I know, Alex, you're not a giant hockey guy, and I'm not a mega hockey guy either. And I'm not going to say other sports are like hockey and the respect they show at the end of the series. But it is cool when a series ends. You know what? Because I'm a sore loser. I'd want to fight everyone on the winning team. But they all calm down. They go and shake hands. Of course, they violate social distancing and weren't wearing masks. But Robin Leonard got dumped by the Blackhawks to the Golden Knights, and he just went and beat them in a series. And you could see him. He had something to say He wasn't like, "Hey, motherfucker." No, he had something nice to say. It looked like to every guy in the Blackhawks. And listen, I'm not a softie, but when I watched it, I was like, "That's kind of cool. That's good sportsmanship on both sides." So I enjoyed that moment too.
You love a good sportsmanship moment, huh?
You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know that we're gonna have time tonight to get to another because I lost it last night at a conniption over Tatis Jr. and these jabronis who want to play by the baseball rules, and I lost it like.
The unwritten baseball rules.
Today was like I did, I think 13 minutes with John in the room, just staring at me as I went fucking ballistic again. But there is part of me, even though I did say for a second time that the Padres actually, whoever the Padres pitcher was today, needed to step off the mound and just throw it at Chris Woodward in the dugout for fucking with like that. That's my new thing. I just, you know what, get suspended 10 games. But if you can hit Woodward in the dugout, do it. All of that said, I do like a soft moment every once in a while in sports. I don't cry. I know Adam gets real. Adam's uncomfortable with the hugging part.
Oh yeah. Well, I was uncomfortable with the whole thing because they made a specific rule. You can't shake hands in this thing. Like no shaking hands. That was a specific rule.
Oh, and you got mad.
I want suspensions.
If I set you up, this is a video. This is goofball time. If I set you up on terrestrial side to do a rant about social distancing and shaking hands, will you do it?
No, but here's why.
Why not? Do it!
Because I will say I do feel like when we are in a secure environment where everybody has been tested, it's different. I just do. Like I feel, that if you're out in public, like I was actually out tonight at a restaurant, which freaked me out a little bit. But like when people were walking over and they like come to say hi or whatever, I'd be like, no, we're not doing this. No, stay away. And I of course run into people all the time, and they'll walk over and like, hey, what's going on? Like, stay away. First of all, you've been drinking all day. I don't know who you've been around. I don't know who you've been hugging. Like, knock it off. Get away from me. But I do think there's something to being in that secure environment where you're like, all right, we can relax a little bit here. Like, we've all been tested every day. We're in a bubble. It's fine. So I wasn't really that mad about it, but it did right away. As soon as they started shaking hands, I stood up and I was like, you're not supposed to shake hands in there. They made a rule, no playoff shaking hands. We know this. What are you doing? But it's all right.
And I'm sure this is happening everywhere, but locally here in Orange County, I heard of a bar that is because things are still very closed down here, but it's open air. It's got big windows in the front, so they open the windows. But then I heard they're still having full packed shoulder to shoulder, no masks required parties. I heard that and I was like, oh, that's weird, whatever. Then I saw on this Instagram story of this girl I know, and it was like at a crowded bar, like a club. No one's wearing masks, and I was like, oh, is this an old video? She's like, oh, no, it's Rothschild's bar. It's like a club. It's totally open. And then a couple of days later, she's like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to hang out? And I was like, no, I don't want to. You were just at the club. No one's wearing a mask. But is Vegas is open, though, right?
Kind of.
Not really. Not really.
Casinos are open.
Yeah, I mean, the local Vegas scene is not super open.
Yeah, some pool parties are opening this weekend. I saw that. Didn't really like that much. But yeah, there's a lot that's open and there's a lot that's not. And then like local spots, the places I was at tonight, I went to 2 different places, both for 50%, and like they're very much adhering to that. You have to have the mask on until food gets to your table. Like things like that, they are doing. But yeah, you're right in the tourist areas. It's starting to really open up again, which does not make me comfortable.
How do you defend your dumb hockey take about shaking hands during a pandemic with coronavirus? React to Miller J Vegas here. It's a good picture.
That's what I said. I was kidding. I mean, they're tested and they're in there. Like I'm fine with it.
All right. Important question from John Lynn. How many times have Cofield and Adam hugged?
I don't think it's ever happened.
I've known Adam, I think, since he was 18.
19, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so 19. He's in his mid-40s now. He's exactly 40. So I've known him 21 years. We've done shows together since 08 or 07, and we've never hugged.
No.
We've never bro hugged. I would put fist bump / handshake at less than 5, and I think I might be getting aggressive.
Yeah, I would say less than 3.
Adam, not a big touchy feely guy.
No, I said the best thing that came out of this whole pandemic is if we go to no contact going forward. Nobody knows the appropriate contact or time. Like handshakes linger too long. Some guys go with the power shake. It's so obnoxious. There's the half bro hug type thing, and everybody kind of does that weird, and they're too close. Like it's the whole. There's no proper way. The high five? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no
good show. Good job, buddy.
I'm a toucher. I'm a fist bump guy. Well, I had someone yesterday. I shook a hand yesterday.
Oh, gross.
Oh God, I shook. But
I shook one last week, and I was like, "What just happened? I don't know how I got suckered into this."
I should have just gone to the fist bump, but I did something weird. I was filming something, so I had my camera in my right hand. This guy to my left came to shake my hand, and instead of just fist bumping, I took his hand with my left hand and did like a weird up and down.
Oh, no.
It would have been weird anytime, but it was like particularly weird because now I'm like touching this guy. But he asked for it. He wanted me to touch his hand. He wanted to shake my hand. Anyway, it was all bad. So there's some truth to what you're saying, Adam, for sure.
So this is very old material. Adam and I on the show have done this probably at least 10 times. The whole handshake, fist bump confusion, and
when does it end? When does it end?
Well, like shaking a fist, bumping a handshake. I've had multiple years where I came into the year and I'm like, my resolution this year is I'm only fisting. And I don't mean it that way. And I use that stupid line, Uncle Steve humor, every year when I say that. But I still screw it up. Oh, Cobra
yeah, somebody asked about the chart. Alex, the fist bump, I'm all for. I'm all for fist bump. Yes.
Great comment. We have a greedy Golic relationship off the air. Yeah, exactly.
And the reason I'm like pro fist bump, like what I just said, all those things, like nobody knows how long to do it, how much strength to put into it, all those things. Fist bump is very self-explanatory. It's bumping out.
Boom.
Like that's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with a fist bump, but like I'm good now. I'm doing the air fist bump. I'm really in for that.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Little elbow.
It's good. It's an acknowledgement. Like, hey, what's up? Air fist bump, and we're out.
Yeah. So, do you guys have more Vegas Golden Knights to talk?
No, that was enough.
No. If you need to, I want you to. I know that's important.
It's not an anti-hockey thing. It's just we're going to play to our all of our strong suits here. So you had a good rundown tonight. Do you want to get into some of the rankings? What else do we want to get into?
I actually like the rankings, but now that I know cured meats is an option, that kind of tickles my fancy because I'm more of a cured meats guy than a Hostess Treats guy. I'm not a huge sweet tooth, but I do have a salty tooth or whatever you call that. I like the meats. So what did you guys?
I like the meats. Okay, here's your choice because this started. Adam, explain the story. The pepperoni shortage.
Yeah.
What?
The pandemic has created a pepperoni shortage.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wow.
It's true. To where prices have gone significantly up from about $4 a pound to $6 a pound for like the mom and pop pizza shops. Yep. So it has caused a problem. And they're kind of weighing it like, do we raise prices in a time where we're struggling for business anyway to account for the pepperoni increase, or do we just eat the difference and take less of a profit? But it has not impacted like the major chains because they buy so much pepperoni in advance that it hasn't got to them. So now the mom and pop shops are even at a more competitive disadvantage, which is so unfair.
I'm not a chain pizza guy. I'll always go mom and pop. I've put in some years of service as a delivery driver locally here for Sergeant Pepperoni's. Great pepperoni spot, Sergeant Pepperoni's Pizza. So I know I'm just I don't like corporate pizza at all.
Adam also pointed out that there's a big pizza movement here led by
by PJs. Yeah. So in the time when all these other places are struggling to buy pepperoni, Schnatz, I don't think he's there anymore, but Papa John's introduced the Shaq-a-roni pizza with like 100 pepperonis on it, which is just rubbing it in the face of everyone else.
Dude, fuck Papa John, bro. Papa John is just grease personified, like the individual John Shatner or whatever. I don't like Papa John's. I don't like Domino's.
Do you follow Schnatz on TikTok though?
No. Does he have one?
Yes, he's good.
No, man.
He's
That
good.
guy's just like been bathing in pizza grease for years. I guess if I had to go corporate pizza, I guess I'm maybe Little Caesars. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it's a hot and ready. It's good.
It's a pretty hot take.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue about
No.
chain pizza joints, but it's a pretty hot take. Here's Adam's cured meat ratings, and we gave him a choice of it's 8 total. It's let's see, it's ham, bacon, salami, capicola, which I just put in there because it's gabagool, prosciutto, pepperoni, pastrami, and chorizo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Adam's rankings were, I might have just read them in the correct order. His were bacon, chorizo, ham, pepperoni, pulling up the rear, prosciutto, pastrami, salami, gabagool.
Well, gabagool getting real low on there, huh?
I also
I don't
realized,
think he's had it often. That's the thing.
and while they're not the same exact thing, it's pretty weird that pepperoni and salami are that far apart, being that they're very similar.
Yeah, I do think, I think bacon is great, but I think it's overhyped.
Oh,
I think there's this movement. There's this bacon bro movement. It's like, I like whiskey and bacon. I like bacon on everything. And it's like, I know I'm probably offending a lot of the listeners and viewers because it's very sports radio centric. I think those demographics overlap quite a bit, but I do think bacon is just almost too overhyped. It's too ubiquitous.
You think the bacon and sports radio demographics overlap?
Strongly.
I think so too.
Strongly. I think
That is a great line.
the Venn diagram is a circle.
Adam, steal that. Don't give him credit.
Oh, I did. I'm taking it.
It's our demo. That anytime, you know what? Anytime I pitch a food joint from here forward, like it doesn't have to be bacon, but I'm just gonna say, hey, you know what? Just so you know, our audience, there's a giant crossover. The numbers say it between or with bacon and our 25 to 54 demo. I didn't do that smoothly. I will practice it. I will nail it for the next sales pitch, and I think their eyes will light up. Ooh, okay. Bacon.
Brady is also correct. I am very anti big pizza.
That's good. We can agree on that.
Big pizza just makes me laugh. Big anything is funny.
I like bacon. I just don't know if I'd put it as my number one. I think it just gets like too much because of the hype. You know, when something's so hyped all the time, there's like bacon air fresheners and bacon mints, bacon toothpicks, bacon on t-shirts.
There's a reason.
That's too much. It's like McDonald's isn't the best hamburger just because it's everywhere.
I mean, that's fair. But I mean, bacon, I feel like it did get where it is for a reason. Like it was that good.
But yeah, I mean, a good like Applewood smoked bacon. If I'm going to a diner and they're asking me what I want with my pancakes or waffle, ham, breakfast link, or bacon, I will go bacon.
Right, but I made the case. I had ham on my listings, and it was maybe too high. But I also I made the case that it's very versatile. Like
Ham's
that's part of why it's up there. Like it can be used in a lot of different ways. It could be a sandwich for lunch or dinner. It could be actually like a ham steak for a dinner. It could be ham on a breakfast platter. Like there's a lot that you can do with it.
Also, part of my sales pitch in the future from Mark in Vegas: quadruple bypass patients and sports radio listeners are positively correlated. It's good.
That's true. That's true. I think ham, but I think you can get bad ham.
You can get bad ham.
See, Brady is living up to every sports radio listener stereotype that I have in my head. People get pissed if you talk bad on bacon. I think I'm Italian, and I lean towards a salami prosciutto number one for myself. Find me at that charcuterie board. That could be another power rankings, by the way. I don't know if you guys are big charcuterie guys, but I am.
Sure.
Find me at the charcuterie board, and I'm going ham on the salami, no pun intended, but I'm going for the salami or the prosciutto. High quality prosciutto and salami are just, I think those would be right up there for me.
Can I tell you, if I see a charcuterie board without olives, I will lose it.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I'll throw it. Don't give me
on the opposite. There's olives on there. I throw the olives.
Well, yeah, especially if they replace the olives with dried fruit. I like a little dried fruit, but I don't want that much dried fruit. I don't want a dried, unsalted nut. I want salami, I want cheese, and I want olives.
I feel like
or prosciutto.
I feel like a hardcore breakdown of charcuterie boards is not a very stereotypical sports radio conversation.
No. Now
we would do it. That's another night. We got to prep for that, for sure. See, Alex doesn't know the cured meat thing is so up my alley. Did I pull out the slicer last night? Last night, because
you have a meat slicer?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
You know the prices are through the roof, man. You invest in the slicer, then you go to Costco and I buy like the big hunks of deli meat.
How
and
big is your fridge?
Dude, those like the full when you see the deli man, the deli woman like pull out one of those hams, those or turkey, they last forever. Like I can't get through them. And I bragged last year about eating like certain amount of poundage of ham. It's amazing. It's never ending. But last night I sliced up. I actually had some pork roll frozen in the fridge, which is a New Jersey. It's a peach. And I had some ham as well. So I did slice that up. Good to go. Already had salami pre-sliced. So that's the diet this week.
Do you have one of those like glass case deli displays like in your kitchen where you can pull them out and slice them? Like I think it sounds very cost effective to buy in bulk like that. I don't think the average person has that big of a fridge.
It's getting tough. It's getting tough.
Big ass hams. How many?
I cut them up. I cut them up to try to reduce the size, but I probably need. I have a floor fridge, and it's getting kind of crazy. Like I have a bag of ice in there, and every day I go in, I'm like, this goddamn bag of ice. Someone use some ice. Come on.
Weren't you lamenting that you need a bigger slicer though?
I didn't get a great slicer. It's a good slicer, but I actually need like the real deli slicer, and I totally missed an opportunity because there were like 50 of them up on that Nellis auction. But when I looked at the price, I was like $300. And then after I did some research, I'm like, those things are like $1,200 slicers. Like the slicers they use at the deli or the grocery store or a butcher shop, they're a lot of money. My parents had one. I have no idea what they did with it.
Oh, so this is genetic. This is like the Cofields. They slice their meats.
They opened a butcher shop.
Yeah.
Oh.
They tried to open a butcher shop. My dad quit his job when he was probably like, about 39. And in New Jersey, and we went down to Florida, and they tried to open a butcher shop, and man, it was a disaster. It was like when you're a kid, you don't know about the financials of your family. So like my parents did well enough that they were smart with real estate. My mother sold real estate for a long time, so they would always have like a relatively new house. And I think we went from like, I have no idea, I don't know, like say something that was like 2,500 square feet, right? We all had our own bedrooms, like a 4-bedroom house. We went to Florida. They opened the butcher shop. We come back to Jersey because he's like, well, that didn't fucking work. We come back. We were sharing there were 5 of us, and we were sharing a 2-bedroom apartment.
So
nothing against apartment dwellers, but we went from like, nice ranch, plenty of room, and all of a sudden we're like, in the apartment complex. So
damn, they chased the dream though. The deli dream. That's inspiring.
And they had the one thing they kept. I think they probably had some good knives and stuff, but the one thing they kept was that goddamn slicer. It was great. It's a beautiful slicer, big slicer.
Well, they needed to. You had to cut your own meat after that. You couldn't afford to actually go buy it.
Oh, when John, when I'm forced out of radio, which is going to be pretty soon, as we shut the whole friggin' thing down. Deli. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have to intern at a deli at a grocery store, but I'll be a deli man, no doubt.
So Cofield, are you making are you making sandwiches all the time?
I actually, because I'm a fatso, I try not to do too much bread. So if anyone looked at my car, my drive to work, I have the slicer, but basically every day I'll take like a handful of meat slices and cheese slices and just eat it on the way to work. That's actually my first meal of the day, usually around 2:15. My first meal is coffee, like 3 cups of coffee between 9 and 1, and then I will have some meat and cheese. Back to your charcuterie on the way to work. I do need the olives. I need to have it more elaborate. I probably need some sort of like tray installed in the car.
Charcuterie to go.
It would be like some kind of pull-out tray.
Yeah, drive-through charcuterie. Is that a thing in Vegas?
Should be. It will be now.
Should be.
That's my dream.
Business idea. That's my dream. Boom.
I'll be living.
What do you think the market is for that? There's no way it's a very large market.
You're getting like a little to-go bag with like little separately sealed things. You eat it in the car.
It's like me and Steve. That's the market for it, and we're going to be owning it. So it's kind of dumb.
Now, this is a good comment, and enough about me here in a second. This is a good comment from CJ Cards fan that he can just see me shoving it in my mouth at red lights. That is very true. But I will tell you, the slicer and the meats and the cheeses have completely cut down my honking the horn. Like I don't know what, dude. No, because I'm distracted. I'm eating and I'm looking down. I don't know what the fuck is going on around me. And before I would drive around and all I'm doing is beeping at people. I'm like, violation, turn. That was bullshit. You cut in front of someone. I'm beeping a car 6 cars ahead of me. Now I'm like, I'm in La La Land. I'm just eating my meats.
Wait, are you slicing in the car? Like, are you bringing the big ham and just running through the slicer at a red light?
Yeah, you said that's what you made it seem like. You said because of the slicer and the meats, I'm happier when I drive. I slice at a red light.
No, it's just eating it takes. I have a little more concentration just eating, handling the meats, handling the potentially slippery meats and cheeses.
Okay, how much of this are you bringing in the car with you? Because I feel like after like one stoplight, you're done. Like, how much ham are you bringing?
I don't bring that much, but there was a moment today where I was scarfing it down so quick. I actually told myself, like I had to wait until a certain intersection to have the last couple of slices. These are the things that go on.
Just so you know, Cofield, I actually do that too. Not while driving as much, but I do. I'll go. Well, as a guy who doesn't have a meat slicer, like 99.9% of the American population, I'll go to the supermarket or the deli and I'll just pick up like a half pound of turkey and a half pound of cheese. And then I'll just have that for lunch because I too am, trying to avoid bread when possible. That's the era we're in.
We have to finish this because this is lame, but I will tell you the roots of the ham and cheese actually go back to when I was a cabana boy. My first job was when I was 14. And I've always been cheap. I was so frugal even at that because I'm like, I'm making a little bit of money. I'm not gonna go out and get like a real lunch. I would walk over to the grocery store and I would actually get a pack of meat and cheese, and I might buy a roll, because I was thin. I was like 14, and that's what I would eat for lunch. Like I was so cheap at 14 and so frugal and so money conscious. I'm like, and Adam, to your point about the Carl Buddig meat,
yeah.
Like whatever the Carl Buddig meat was in New Jersey when I was 14, that's what I would get to. I think it was called chicken roll, and it's basically just like pressed stuff that tastes like chicken.
I actually enjoy a chicken roll. It's actually not bad. Was that Pathmark you were going to back in Jersey, Steve?
It was not Pathmark. It was actually ShopRite.
Okay,
it was
perfect.
a ShopRite. So.
Now here's my problem with that whole story. If you have a slicer, I don't think you should go ham. Like ham is what you settle for if you can't find anything else, right?
I don't know about that.
I got some Black Forest ham. I don't that of all the stuff I've gotten so far. I didn't get the best quality.
What's your go-to sandwich deli meat, Adam?
I'm more worried about the cheese. Like I want a good cheese, and once I have that, then I'm whatever other meat is kind of fine. But I just feel like ham I'll go with, but I feel like it's because it's so readily available anywhere you go. You're like, all right, ham, I'll take the ham, or I'll buy the ham. Like I feel like there's better choices out there. I like even a pepperoni and a cheese.
That's not like healthy. That's not like you don't want that to be your first meal of the day. It's just like handfuls of pepperoni, right?
Sure, why not?
I don't know.
No bread, you're good.
No bread, eat the pepperoni.
Yeah. Well, what do you go? Bacon? You go bacon? A bacon and a cheese? And maybe some pepperoni handfuls too? That works. Except pepperoni's too expensive now, so we can't do that anymore. That's out.
I'm glad our P1s pay attention.
There we go.
No, there's this one. Martin was saying that was pre-soup Cofield. Yeah, that was before I served soup. Yeah, I had a couple year run where I actually served soup at a racetrack, and I'm a soup lunatic. So
you're a soup lunatic.
Wow.
Oh, he's all in on soup.
Talk about being down on ham. Ryan Carl Hill. Ham is that ugly chick at the end of the bar after 58 strikeouts. I don't know, man.
I put ham above turkey. I put ham above turkey.
No.
My cured meat list, I had ham number 1 over everything. So I'll leave it at that. Can we? I don't want to take control here, but
also it's not nice to say that chicken roll was Ari's nickname in high school.
What do you want to shift to?
No, we got it. We're gonna close on a couple of things. We've got breaking news from the world of Ari, so hopefully he's off, so we can mock on him. I haven't seen the My Pillow guy against AC 360.
Oh, it's good.
God.
Was it good?
Yeah, let's do that.
Why was it ridiculous, Adam?
Because it's the fucking My Pillow guy who now thinks he's smart. He's just Anderson Cooper almost had another meltdown moment. Which, by the way, somebody every single day tweets at me, the same guy, asking me to change my profile picture on Twitter, like the more you ask, the less likely I am to do it.
What is it? What is it?
Well, Anderson Cooper was interviewing our mayor, Mayor Goodman here.
Yes, I saw that.
And it was like it was just the most embarrassing representation ever. And at one point, Anderson Cooper just got so frustrated that he stopped the interview and he just put his head in his hands and sort of shaking his head. And him embarrassed that our mayor is my profile picture now, which is his head just buried.
Oh, that's good.
Hands. Yeah, it's great.
People don't like that.
No,
they think it's disrespectful.
Why. Apparently,
I think it's disrespectful to the Vegas flag.
Yeah, the more you tweet me and ask me to do it, I'm not going to do it. There's no chance.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true. My Pillow guy smoked crack, so he's an expert now.
I got one thing to say about My Pillow before we watch this. I think the My Pillow guy is a lunatic. I think there's a lot of people like him that are all of a sudden empowered. And they're like they're snake oil salesmen, to quote Anderson Cooper from this. But I was gifted a My Pillow recently, like within the last month. And I was like, hell no. I wasn't like, hell no. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I know that guy's a weirdo. I don't want to support his business. But then I tried it and it's actually super comfortable. So I sleep on a My Pillow, but I don't want anyone to know. I'm telling you guys because I think it's relevant, but I hate that I sleep on it. But I do sleep well.
That's a ringing endorsement for Mike Lindell and his My Pillow. I'm troubled. Is My Pillow one word? Like My Pillow? Is that how we spell it? That's weird.
I think they have the caps wrong on that, but let's play it. All right.
Where is it?
The tests are out there. The 1,000 people, phase one and phase two.
Where is the test? Show it to us.
I don't have the
name
test
where it's from. Who did the test? What university? What doctors?
Well, you'd have to talk to. I guess you'd have to have Dr. Carson and then the company. All the tests.
You said you saw the test. You read the test. So tell me about the test. Where was it done?
The test, it was done on over 1,000 people.
Where was it? Where was it done?
Set this up. Is this hydrochloroquine? Is that what they're talking about?
No, it's like oleander oil. It's some other like natural cure for COVID.
Oh, is he selling it?
He's on the board of a group that's trying to get it approved.
No.
So nothing to see here.
Procedures for the test. You read this. Let's hear it.
The procedures are it was used against cancer. So they did when you do a safety test of phase one and phase two, it's to see if there's any.
There's been no phase one and phase two on this drug, sir. There's been no phase one and phase two on this drug.
Yeah, absolutely. There has. The FDA has had it since April. 100%. You're just misconstrued because the media is trying to take away this amazing cure that works for everybody.
Okay, so just for our viewers, you have no medical background. You're not a scientist. A guy called you in April, said he had this product. You are now on the board and going to make money from the sale of this product. The reason he reached out to you is because you have the ear of the president. So he gets a meeting with the president, and you stand to make money from this. How do you sleep at night?
Anderson, that's your narrative.
You're not going to make money from this?
Because they want. I don't care about the money. I think I've proven that.
Really?
I give millions of dollars to everything that happens, from hurricanes to $4 million worth of masks that I gave out free pocket. I just want to say, if you let me talk here, I will tell you they put me on the board last week because when this gets approved by the FDA, which it will, it's passed every safety test. They have all the studies done, which
the FDA doesn't really approve supplements.
When this comes out, this company wanted me because I help people. That's my passion, and I can scale things to get it out to everybody to save our country, to save lives.
There's no evidence.
To save lives.
How are you different than a snake oil salesman? You have no medical background. There's no evidence of this substance. It hasn't been tested in animals or humans.
I think my platform stands by itself, a platform that God gave me of integrity and trust. I would not go all in on something to help people.
Okay. And you're right. On the bottom, it actually did say it's oleandrin, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I believe him. I can't wait to take this thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Cure me, Mike Lindell.
I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of follow-up stories on this. We'll find out if he's got something here. You're thinking he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. I mean, clearly he doesn't. And he said he read the study, and then Anderson Cooper's like, well, tell me some details about the study you read. And he had nothing at all. And he's right. If it's a supplement, as he's claiming, the FDA doesn't approve those. So when is this FDA approval going to come? Like, clearly, Anderson Cooper's 100% right. They came to him. They're like, hey, man, tell the president to put this out. because they know that the president will say anything. Like hydrochloroquine works. It doesn't, but I'll just keep saying it. Why not? And he knows that the president will say anything, so he put it in his ear, he spit it out, and then now all of a sudden this company is worth a lot more money. That's what Mike Lindell is doing. He cares about himself, not people.
We need to go back to a hunter-gatherer society. We have advanced too far. We have too much time on our hands. Everything is so dumb. Like the fact that that guy is in the president's ear. He's probably speaking at the RNC next week. It's just insane. Like there's just people just go and spout lies here on CNN or just day to day. And then if they don't like it when they're challenged, they say, well, that's just your narrative. The media doesn't want this cure out there. And it's just lies. Like society is, it's too complex. We need to simplify. I don't know what to do with, there's so many, there's thousands of MyPillow guys running around, like running the country.
Can I also point out that, I'm not doing them now because obviously, nobody's in the office. But you know how many like editorial meetings I've been in at the newspaper? Like, you think things are like pitched and we're like, no, we can't put that out there. We don't want a cure. This is good. Like, is that really what people think is going on in newsrooms around the country?
No, people
like, the media. Of course.
People think there's a sinister agenda, but like anybody who's been in any kind of journalism, I mean, it's never that. It's never that.
Do you understand the media is just human beings doing a job? Like, if there was some cure that actually worked, everybody would be celebrating and talking about how great it is. This whole thing is so dumb.
All right. Alex put together a hell of a rundown tonight. He didn't get to do most of it, so we'll talk about it. We got to do more. We got to do maybe we'll do another spot later this week if you're up to it. I have to close on this though because the vast sound crew at Lotus Broadcasting has this. We've gone to 4 hours, and these are the kind of days. I don't know what's going to come of it, but these are the kind of days where we need extra time. My imagination is racing right now. Someone has interviewed Ari.
What? About what?
Let's see.
Is there somebody doing a study about how to be nervous 24 hours a day?
There's a podcast locally.
Oh no!
Is it punching up for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's slowly loading. Yeah.
Slowly.
Okay. Yeah. It's called First Time.
Oh no!
First Time, Long Time.
Oh no!
Our guest is Ari, the producer, who joins us to discuss his career path.
What?
Meeting rappers.
Hold on, I have a problem. I'm reading ahead, but
and covering sports in Las Vegas.
Covering sports. Can we listen to this whole thing?
I hope, man. We're gonna do the late night happy hour is gonna be 4 hours. Tiger Gator, yes. Petro is on tomorrow. This will actually be this will probably be on the radio show. Now I may be building this up. There may be nothing to this.
Oh, there's something to it. This is great.
Yeah.
Poor Ari.
Yeah. So he's done an interview. Yeah.
I don't know Ari. I'm laughing, but I don't know him.
Well, I don't know. I'm curious to see if he went off the rails. I hope he did.
I honestly hope, because it should. If it should be every single question just trashing both me and you, mostly you, but it should be trashing us on every single answer, and I hope that's what he did.
I'm fascinated. I'm gonna show you one more thing, and I'm just gonna.
Can we have the sound? Can you play it?
No. This is everyone can go listen to it afterwards, if they want. I'm gonna show you one more thing, and I don't really pay attention. Like I have no idea what Adam wears on a day-to-day basis. I know Adam doesn't look at me the entire show. If I wear some goofy hat or a dumb T-shirt, he doesn't see it. I really don't pay attention to what Ari wears.
No.
But he wears this shirt as if he's some like 1976 fucking hero of labor. It says skilled labor ain't cheap. Cheap labor isn't skilled. Can I tell you how much management at Lotus hates that T-shirt? like fucking hates it.
Ari Cesar Chavez,
Man of the people, the people's champ.
Like my advice would be stop wearing it. My other advice would be this probably wasn't the best picture.
Also, is he pointing at the shirt?
I don't know what's going on.
That's epic, man.
Yeah, I know this is a bit of an inside joke, Alex, but
no, but
we've got quite the narrative that has been developing with our good friend Ari. So he's a funny guy.
I love that shirt. I'm gonna be in Vegas this weekend, so maybe I'll see you guys in real life.
What? Are you actually going out?
He wants advice. He wants advice on where to go.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I'm going. I'm not going to go out. I'm not like doing a Vegas trip with the boys. I'm like producing a docu-series about a 7-year-old football team. But we could talk. We'll talk more about that later. But I'm gonna be in.
I love just riding up on a football game and watching the kids play.
Oh. Yeah. It'll be 8 a.m.
By the way, another inside joke. So
okay,
keep going.
Wait, is this like a celebrity football team, or like it's like children of famous people?
Last year they won the 7-year-old national championship. This is tackle. This is tackle football. These kids are playing, and they're on a quest for ring number 2. So I'm actually producing a Hard Knocks-esque series about them.
This is great.
We haven't dropped it yet. I just started. This is game 1, so I'll be out in Vegas Friday morning through Sunday afternoon, and there's going to be a lot of downtime. So I don't know. I'm staying at the MGM Grand. That's where they put me up, and I don't know what I'm doing during my downtime, but I'll look to you guys for some recs.
When are you getting here?
Sometime midday Friday.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'll have a rental car, I believe. So,
you're flying?
No. We are renting a car out here and driving.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. I hope I'm not flying. But yeah, I don't know what to do. I know you said pool parties are opening up. I don't think I should do that.
No. Although if you do want to go, I'll tell you the one to go to on Saturday.
Okay. All right. I gotta weigh my risk versus reward. You know what I mean? Risk versus reward this weekend for me.
Smart. And definitely mask up at MGM. The place seems like there's a lot of people.
God, I don't love that. I don't love that.
No.
I was like, where are we staying? Airbnb off the strip? He's like, MGM. I'm like, oh, sweet. Great.
Did you discover this football team, or did somebody hire you to do this?
They got in touch with me. I had like a mutual contact, like, oh, you do video? You want to do like a Hard Knock show about the team? And I was like, yeah, here's how much it'll cost. And you're down. So that's my new side gig.
Wow. So are you going to do the whole season?
That's the plan. We're taking it 1 week at a time right now. But it should be interesting. I don't know. I'm going to find out a lot more this week. I just started filming with them yesterday. And
what if they get like blown out?
They're running some advanced schemes in practice. I was like, these kids know this. They're like running. They're like, okay, so if the running back goes in motion, like you're going to call the DNs calling out contain, dropping back here. I'm like, oh, how do these kids remember this shit? Like they're 7.
Wow.
Yeah. They had film on this other team too.
I will say you'd be surprised how much kids can pick up. We've discussed it, but I actually coached like a 7-8-year-old girls basketball team.
Like I've been.
It went well.
I mean, we have Adam. He's mostly the second host, and that helps in terms of consistency and chemistry.
All right.
That's gonna blow up tomorrow. I feel like as an outsider, I might tune in to hear this pod.
Please play more of this.
Well, I think there's so much potential too, because the guy I did the podcast with, I don't think likes us. Probably me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? No. Who is it? Do we know the person's name?
Yeah. So
rhymes with?
No one else is gonna know who he is. So we'll give it a listen.
Okay.
We'll give it a listen.
I'm so excited. Now I got to stay up all night. I got Hard Knocks to watch and this podcast to listen to. And by the way, there's a new Zach to the Future podcast out. So my night is ruined.
Yeah, have you checked out the Zach to the Future podcast, the recap of Saved by the Bell? Mark Paul Gosselaar has never watched Saved by the Bell after he got done with it. And now they do a breakdown of each episode on a new podcast.
That's a good idea for a podcast.
Isn't it, Adam?
Don't do this to me.
He's beside himself that he's
This
not.
was the podcast I was born to host. Me and Mark Paul going through the episodes. Like, I was born to do this. This was my job.
I hate that feeling when you see your dream gig and it's someone else is doing it and it's done and you're just like, well, that sucks.
And I also heard like the episode of how it happened, of like this dude was just an obsessed fan. He wrote some goofy like, fake Saved by the Bell scripts where like Mark Paul Gosselaar was like an alternative universe. He was an asshole, and he sent it. Yeah, and Mark Paul Gosselaar was like, "This is amazing. I want to meet this dude." And then he met him, and they started doing the podcast. Like, I could have just made fun of him, and he would have done the podcast with me.
Damn.
The pain.
Also, a pre-existing relationship with Mario Lopez. It would have been perfect.
You do?
Well, there was a day I was actually at Wildcard Gym in Hollywood, and Mario Lopez was in there, and he was sitting there talking. Like, I was there doing a story on Conor McGregor, actually, who was kind of training down there. And like Mario Lopez starts talking to me about Conor McGregor, and he's like, "Oh, you've been covering him, like you've been hanging out with him, like what's he like, all this stuff." And he doesn't say like I'm Mario Lopez, or as I would say, I'm AC Slater. But like I know who it is, but I'm pretending I don't know. I think he's just a regular guy. So I feel like I'm playing it very cool. Like this is great.
You're like, multiple levels of deep cover here.
Oh, this is amazing. And then I leave. He follows me on Twitter because I tweeted out like I just had an awesome conversation with Mario Lopez, which I shouldn't have probably said it. But then he follows me and like DMs me like, "Yeah, it was great to meet you. I didn't even know you knew who I was. Like, this is amazing." And then a couple days later, he clearly was like, "This guy's Twitter is annoying," and he unfollowed me, and then it was over.
God,
it was done. It sucked.
I hate that, man.
We had the dream. Yeah, we had the dream for a couple days, but it's all over.
Sick. That was probably a good feeling when it happened, though.
Yeah. We're trying to get him on, I think. Isn't he on the hit list now? Or is it Mark Paul? I think it's Mark Paul.
We kind of put both. So whoever he's going for MPG first, and then we'll see about Slater. So all right, we will wrap it for tonight. Alex, stay on here when we drop off. But appreciate it, everybody. Good feedback again. Good comments. Tomorrow we go earlier. It's 9:00 with Petro, and then we're back into the legal podcast 10:30 on Thursday. That was really good. Appreciate all the feedback.